All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. The meeting, first agenda item is the call to order and introductions. So we can just go around.
Start this way, all right. Allie Wen, Florida Department of Health. Robin Baker, City of Plant City.
Jonathan Forbes, member at large.
Trina Corcoran, Planning Commission rep.
Gina Torres, your liaison to TPO tonight.
Jim Shirk, Vice Chair.
Tim Horst, the chair.
Peter Devitt, City Temple Terrace.
Glenn Watson, Environmental Protection Commission.
And Victoria Klug, member at large.
And then would anyone online like to?
John Marsh, City of Tampa.
Yeah, this is Chris Fellerhoff with Hillsborough County.
Wanda Vincent, member at large.
David Aylesworth, member at large.
Jason Jackman, University of South Florida.
Carla Price with City of Tampa, Parks and Rec.
Savannah Vidal, Corporal with Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
John Kubicki, member at large.
All right, hearing no one else, we can go ahead and move on to item number 2. I guess, Gina, would you like to declare quorum for the evening?
Yeah, we can do that. Cheryl, I know that you're also listening in, so we definitely have a quorum live here. So you guys can make that decision to allow the rest of the group that are remote to vote. So we'll make a motion for that.
So how would that work exactly?
Well, because you have a quorum in the room, it allows, you can make the decision to allow your other members that are remote to also participate in an action item and vote on it.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor? Say aye. Are there any opposed?
And just for the record, that was Shirk and Watson that made the motion. Thank you.
All right, well, that's a kind of a new thing, so that's neat. Thanks. Okay, so next we can move on to public comment. I don't see any in our audience here today, but are there any online?
Was what was provided to us in these handouts, was this supposed to be a public comment that was supposed to be read in? Gina?
Actually, we did get notified that there was interest in public comment. Is this from Neil Costantino? I don't have it.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He, Wade shared with me that he intended to be here to talk about his thoughts. So if you'd like, if he does show up, maybe you could give him his 3 minutes. But in the meantime, we have a magnifying glass and I don't really know his interest here. I mean, I've known Neil a really long time. He's been around a lot. He's has some, different thoughts and ideas and creative ideas, but just take a look at this, and if he comes, maybe we can just hear what he has to say, but put this into the record, and Cheryl, I'll provide that to you for the minutes.
All right. No other public comments. We can move down to members' interests. Allison, would you like to start us off? So just kind of go around the table.
Sure, I don't have anything to add tonight. No comments.
Nothing to add. Thank you.
I just wanted to mention again, this was mentioned at the last PPAC, but a friendly reminder, if you live in the city of Tampa or are interested, the Planning Commission is updating the city of Tampa comp plan, the vision. There's a survey that's available online. It's livegrowththrive2045.com. I brought this forth last time. You'll note on the agenda that there is an item that was removed because I talked about it last time. But go ahead and check out that website. Please take the survey. We're already at close to 700 responses, but really would love to get to 1,000 through grassroots outreach. So please feel free to take that survey and let me know if you have any questions.
Ms. Corcoran, can you repeat that?
Yes.
Email address?
It is www.livegrowththrive2045.com. And it's also, if you just go to our Planning Commission or Plan Hillsborough website, it should be on the scroller on the front page to take the survey.
Thank you.
That's it.
Any members' interest from you?
Yeah, I got one that I'd like to bring to our attention collectively, and it's just something I'd like to kind of advocate for in the future. as well. So a couple times the past number of months, I've since gone about doing like a big bike loop, basically from Seminole Heights. I live near the corner of Sly in Nebraska. And kind of a loop I like to do is to go over Broad, it's a crossing east-west down, and then pretty much hop on Ola, take that the whole way down to Armature Works. You go down and you use the cycle track to head east-west, and then kind of go through Ybor up 15th and then over to 12th. And 12th is like basically a neighborhood street, low-level traffic, and just kind of goes straight back up, and I can kind of finish my loop and have a good time and everything. And I know that for the Heights Mobility Plan, they're addressing the bike boulevard concept on Ola. They're adding some additional crossings to make that route safer. I believe they're including crossings at Columbus and MLK. I believe they're also kind of targeting Central as a bike boulevard for that project. So I guess my advocacy would be towards doing the same thing for 12th, which is just on the other side of the interstate. It's pretty much a parallel road to Ola, both in speeds and, potential for neighborhood greenway. It's just, there's a couple of crossings at Sly, at MLK, at Hannah, yeah.
But I love that route because it's quiet. There are very few cars on it. And the cars that are on there are both pretty slow. 15 will kill you, but 12 is okay.
Right, yeah, I agree. That's why I do it. It's just like a great natural route, but the shortcomings are the crossings. This is where it's at. Hillsborough actually has a good crossing because you can use the PHP. Yeah, so that was a nice.
The other thing is, I'll usually cut over and go down 15, just to cross Hillsborough. And then,
Oh, okay.
because I live on 17th to my house.
Yeah.
So I love this, and I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to really interrupt, but I'm doing it all night, sounds like. Because I also live in that area, I've been on 1212, it's beautiful, it's like a boulevard already. And so our city of Tampa representative, I'm sure they're online here, there's so many things going on in the city that I wouldn't even be surprised if they weren't already looking at this. Now, the crossings, depending on what it is, it's a county road on Sly, it's a state road on Hillsborough, but the whole connection with the green spine and the green artery, I bet you there's some good information that maybe we can come back with on that. I love your idea.
Yeah, I put in you can file these citizen requests to the city, and I put in because I found out that they have jurisdiction on Sly. But then I think it just kind of circled around. I think, like you said, it was a county road and they were. But yeah, I'd love to get some more information and see where that's at.
Peter, nothing this week.
Nothing here.
Nothing really here, just pedestrians following the pedestrians. I just continue to see it on Bay Shore, they're just walking right in front of cars all the time. Like right at Bay to Bay and Bay Shore. But I did have a question about, because I know that route you're talking about, even though I don't live in that area. You're talking about crossing, like getting crossings across at 12th and Ola, and those are great streets. They just don't have a pedestrian crossing?
They just don't have a safe way to cross the road reliably without having to just kind of dart through the openings.
And then there's not one like 1 block away in either direction? Like say a mom is in a stroller, like my niece lives in that area.
Yeah.
Like she would need to go down a couple blocks to get it on a really busy road to cross as opposed to crossing on a small neighborhood type? Is that correct?
It's a route, it's about 2 blocks, I think, from Ola to Tampa.
But it's a super busy street that you may not want to be on, right? As a pedestrian or a bicyclist?
Decent sidewalks either side of Columbus, so you can come down Ola, get on the sidewalk, walk up to Tampa Street, catch the light, go across, and then walk back. But I'd rather have an RFB there, just because it's such a pain in the butt to do that. And you have to, because riding on Columbus is no bargain on a bike either. So, I mean, it's okay for a pedestrian to walk out and cut across, but on a bike, it's, Ola's got a terrible service too.
Yeah, it does.
Right. I heard
Crossing
that-
over. And what was the other street that you were
Oh.
concerned about? Columbus and, no, the east-west street.
Oh, the east-west streets.
It was Columbus and.
Broad. Broad is the one at the north. It goes underneath the interstate, right, just south.
Yeah, I don't know that one. Yeah.
Excuse me, could everyone speak up a bit for the people who are online? Thank you.
What, Chris? I'm sorry, we didn't hear that.
Speak up.
Could everyone speak up a bit for people who are online? You're sounding a little bit muffled. I got a request from David Dunnigan. as
Okay,
well.
sorry. I've been at field day all day, so I've been hollering all day, so I just.
These are the mics.
Oh,
You
right
try
there.
to, yeah.
Okay.
Slide one over.
Or over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was just interested because, yeah, I just happened to be on Ola the other day and it's an incredibly beautiful street. And if it's beautiful and slow and a neighborhood street, then it's gonna be safer, right?
It's really quiet. It goes by cemeteries.
So, okay, well, good. Just wondered what two east-west streets.
Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yes?
Yeah,
Hi, this is Chris Fellerhoff. I'm one of the people online who's having a little hard time hearing. But as I understand the request, the idea, it's to look at 12th Street as a bike boulevard?
correct. Yeah.
Okay,
And I guess
and we're talking about
is it east-west?
Ola also, which DOT is already considered making
Yeah.
recommendations about how to, okay.
Yeah, I am aware, I believe DOT's adding a crossing at Columbus and MLK on Ola. And they're
Yeah,
just
and
doing like a whole corridor wide initiative
Right.
into like an official designated bike boulevard. So
Mm-hmm.
it's basically to take that initiative and apply it to 12th Street is.
I got you. Yeah, I used to live in Seminole Heights, very close to 12th Street, and that was one of the first things I discovered as the way to go shopping or get anywhere. So that's a great route, probably very well suited for that. 12th doesn't actually connect to Hillsborough, though, is a challenge. You have to kind of jog a little bit, but then once you get across, it runs you all the way down to Columbus.
Yeah, so I just think that'd be a great kind of pet project for our committee to advocate for. So, yeah, hopefully we get some updates on that in the future, see where the city's at.
Can I bring up one thing? I know. Tomorrow morning, WFTS is going to have me and Christine Acosta. We were interviewed by Chad Mills about walk bike safety camp. So, and if you don't see it, I'll get you a list. There'll be a place you can watch online.
Okay. Yeah. All right, any other members' interests from anyone on our online audience? Okay, hearing none, we can go ahead and move on to the approval of minutes for April 27th.
Motion to approve.
You have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so that's Allison with the motion and Peter with the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, anyone online? Is anyone opposed online? All
Not
right,
opposed.
hearing none, the motion approves. And we can move on to item number 6, action items. This is going to be a TIP update by Johnny Wong. So Johnny, you got the floor.
It's
Good afternoon. It's Connor McDonald, TPO staff. I'll actually be presenting on behalf of Johnny. And I'll show my screen now. Just got permission.
Connor, make sure you speak up a little bit louder, or you guys.
Here,
Yeah.
it's a little hard to hear, Connor.
Absolutely. Can you hear me better now if I speak a little louder?
It's better. Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Connor.
Okay, thank you. Again, Colonel McDonald, TPO staff. I've come to you in the past with tip amendments, but this is my first time presenting the tip. So I'll start with some information to decode the tip. So it's primarily made up of 3 tables. Table 1 is existing priorities funded for construction. Table 2 is potential candidates for funding. Being in this table also signalizes recognition and support from the TPO. And table 3 is all other projects funded in the next 5 years. It's a catch-all list reflecting FDOT projects and local jurisdiction capital improvement programs. So how are priorities ranked? First, around January to March, jurisdictions and agencies submit a list of projects they would like to be added to the priority list. We meet with these agencies and jurisdictions one-on-one. Next, the TPO categorizes projects into our investment programs, shown on the right. This includes state of good repair and resilience, Vision Zero, smart cities, real choices when not driving, and major investments for economic growth. The TPO staff then collects data and evaluates the impacts of each project. And finally, we use these evaluations to rank each project among comparable projects. So how are they funded? For each project identified in a priority list, the TPO staff will suggest a funding source that best matches the goals of the project, jurisdiction, and facility type. There are some new funding sources that have been identified in Table 2 this year. A few of these are carbon reduction FF, which is federal funds, protect, promoting operations for transformative, efficient, and cost savings transportation, SS4A, Safe Streets for All, ATT IMD, Advanced Transportation Technologies and Innovative Mobility, PRISI, which is Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvements, and MEGA, also known as National Infrastructure Project Assistance. So some highlights from Table 1. I'll provide a quick overview for projects that have been funded for construction. Some of them that have been completed and removed from this list include the Green Spine Phase 3A, which is Nugent Parkway from Nebraska to 7th, if you're familiar, and the Lutz Lake Fern Trail Connector. So some that have been added to this list, they're on the priority list and have received construction funding.
I have a question. Do you happen to have a headset so we can hear you clear? It's just hard to make out words you're saying.
Yeah. If I speak up louder, can you hear me better?
It's a little muffled, actually. Why don't I make this presentation, but you're doing a great job. It's a little muffled, so I don't know if it's getting closer to the mic or not. Or maybe just slower. Maybe I don't know if that helps.
It's almost like the room. It's not your fault, Connor. It just sounds like it's the room.
Yeah,
it's a little hard.
Your phone on his laptop.
Okay, maybe if I open the door, it'll have like a less. Does that sound a little bit better?
It's fine. Just
okay. I'm sorry. Thank you for understanding. I'll try to speak clearly and louder. So these projects that have been added, meaning they were on the priority list, have received construction funding. Dale Mabry from Mango to Pearl Avenue. These are pedestrian hybrid beacons. I came to you with those as tip amendments, and also the downtown interchange and West Shore interchange. So next I'll go over some highlights from Table 2. Again, these are projects submitted by local jurisdictions and agencies that are seeking funding. In state of good repair and resilience, we've added a few projects. This includes bus replacements, which is a recurring project, and Bayshore Boulevard seawall reconstruction. In Vision Zero, we've added quite a few projects. These are ranked first on construction readiness and crash density. We'll measure crash density based on serious injury and fatal crashes per mile. And then finally, the benefit to environmental justice communities. Some of these projects include US 301 intersections at Palm River Road, Harney Road, Stacy Road, McIntosh, and Sims Boulevard, North 15th Street from Fowler to Fletcher, Bird Street from Florida to Nebraska, and McDill Avenue from Bay to Kennedy. In smart cities, we've added a few projects that include the downtown Tampa signal replacements and bridge controller, US 301 a bomb intersection, and various signal replacements on county-owned roads in the city of Tampa jurisdiction. And real choices, we've added Ashley Drive multimodal enhancements and network connections, Dale Mabry at Spruce network connections, and Green Artery segments D and E. For major projects for economic growth, these are considered in this funding category if they are of regional significance and have a high funding request amounts. So some of these include the Cross Bay Ferry Service, Interbay Boulevard from West Shore to Bay Shore, and Cash Street Bridge repair. So some highlights from Table 3. Again, this is a catch-all list of FDOT projects and projects from local jurisdictions and agency capital improvement programs. So a quick breakdown. State of Good Repair and Resilience has 78 projects, Vision Zero 26, Smart Cities 17, Real Choices When Not Driving 7, Major Investments for Economic Growth 30 projects, and miscellaneous, which can include like airport projects or toll operations, 35 projects. So Table 3, funding allocation by project type. Compared to last year, spending in major projects went down from 61 to 48%. Smart Cities and Vision Zero stayed the same. Real Choices When Not Driving went from 9 to 12%. Miscellaneous went from 11 to 16%. And State of Good Repair and Resilience went from 15% to 20%. Finally, our next steps. So projects of regional importance are to be presented to the transportation regional incentive program and multi-use trails priority list. Table 1 and 2 will be reviewed by our partners, and funding recommendations have been shared. Some projects in the TRIP and MUT this year include the widening of Big Bend Road, and some MUT projects like the South Coast Greenway include projects like the South Coast Greenway, Tampa Bypass Canal Trail, and the South Tampa Greenway. So our presentation schedule is as follows. This morning we presented to the Livable Roadways Committee and presenting to you now. Next week we're presenting to the Community Citizens Advisory Committee. The following week to the Technical Advisory Committee, and then finally the public hearing on June 8th at 6 p.m. We've also had a public engagement plan. We've mailed out flyers to properties near newly prioritized projects and posted newspaper ads. And we'll also be posting road signs and social media posts. With that, the recommended actions today are to approve the TIP update for fiscal year 2022-23 through 26-27, and also a second action to approve the TIP priority list, which is also known as Table 2. This concludes my presentation. I'll take any comments or questions.
If you guys don't mind, I want to just highlight a couple of the things that you heard. And it really would help, and it's okay if you didn't print it, but to look at the tables a little bit deeper than what, just the highlights that Connor shared. Table 1 is the good news. Those are things that have been built or already have funding for being built and have been moving through the system and getting built, and that's really great. Table 2 is the priorities that I think where we're able to weigh in a lot more on. Just a couple things I wanted to point out. We had the pie chart's a little concerning when you look at that. You think that we're spending all of our money on major projects. 75% of our discretionary funds, the things that the TPO can actually influence, goes to Vision Zero projects. So it might not look like it, but the money that we have influence over is our funding Vision Zero projects. The major projects, even the smart cities, which is technology, also include a lot of safety projects. When I say major projects, those are road widening projects that are gonna have many of the things that we can influence and ask for in the design, but they're not solely a Vision Zero project. So we're getting a better bang for the buck than it looks like here as far as what this committee might care about. Under the real choices, that particular category is for like trails and bus, extending bus service. There were so many Vision Zero projects that came in that were valid, but they weren't like on the high entry network necessarily. So we actually even added some of those projects to the real choices category. I don't know if you so there was a new way of prioritizing Vision Zero projects. And I think to me, this is what I really like, because as planners, we always have people say, gosh, you're not ready with the studies and the plans. When are you going to build those great things that we already know we need? Well, we put to the very top any of the applications from our partners that were construction ready. That was the number one way of ranking those Vision Zero projects. Then we looked at the high entry network. Which of those had the most crashes on those, severe crashes? And if there was a tie, we used equity. How does it touch the community's concern, or does it, and that might change the order. So to me, that was really exciting to see the way that we kind of were trying to get more of these things built. I think those were just the things. I don't know if it's going to spark any interest or discussion, but I didn't know if that was clear through the presentation.
Would you say that's like this year, how they've added new projects and allocated funding, has it been different from years prior?
Yeah, yes, and we've allocated more to things that we like here in this group when it comes to big allocations. I mean, we've always cared about that, but we just refine our process over and over again. We really work closely with those submitting projects to us. Like we used to get, we just want road widenings or whatever, which is important. There's definitely roads that need widening, but they're not going to be prioritized high. So I'm happy with that. And I think we did say there's a public hearing on June 8th, and that gives everyone an opportunity to weigh in and say what they like what you're doing and such. So.
Say, Gina.
Yeah, sure.
Good to know the insider's perspective on that.
I had a question. Just being new to this board and not fully understanding the process. So when you create this list of priorities, this is strictly from applications that are submitted?
Yes. Some of these are to finish projects that are already underway, like to continue with a phase of them, which is really what we hope to see that too. Yeah. And I think maybe what you're going with, what if we don't get a project that we really need? Like, what if we've analyzed our system and we really need to do this over here, but no one applied for it? Is that maybe what you were thinking?
I guess ultimately my question is, one of the things on the list is number 77 on the list, which is the extension of Sam Allen Road in the city of Plant City. Most may not know, but our northeast sector, the city is exploding. And these extension of these roadways are going to be important to the city in the near future. And unfortunately, the corridor preservation just draws a straight line. And until we do that PD&E study to really truly design and figure out which way that roadway should go, we're expected to make projects just preserve that right of way in their project, not even knowing if it's actually going to go in that direction. But it's been so far down the list for so many years that it's like, at what point, what triggers it to move up the list? Is it something that the city can do do we refile that type of application? Do we give you more information about the 6,000 homes that are going in the next 5 years there? No.
My list is a little bit strange.
It's the extension of Sam Allen Road, and that's just an example. We've got a couple, but
I wanted to follow along with that. I printed one off the web and I think it's a little bit different, but if the information is already received, if it says more information needed, it won't move up to table 1. But if the information is there, it is a matter of funding, for one thing. And sometimes we can't. We know our performance on our system, whether it be safety or congestion or anything, if we stay status quo and if we happen to have a new funding source, whatever that might be. Maybe it's a 1 cent tax. We know that if we had that, 30% less congestion or 20% improvement in your travel time. Like, we know those numbers. And I think that gives a lot of back, opportunities for more things to move forward. But I don't really know the answer about how we can move that.
I'm just curious if there's anything that I can do or that the city can do.
Sure.
Just wasn't sure.
I mean,
what the
so
process
you
was.
talked about corporate preservation. There's a presentation coming to you guys, and I'm really anxious to see that. It's best practices the county is going to bring to us. So that sounds to me like a good way to make sure that that roadway is able to be extended. Are you able, is that in your comp plan? Are you working on?
It's actually in the county's comp plan,
So,
but they help us implement it.
yeah. So is the alignment not exactly what you were hoping would be? I'm sorry.
It's not possible at this point, because projects have been approved in its path. And that's always been, the reason is because, well, we don't know where it's going to go. We're not going to keep them from, doing what they do, but it's always never been funded. So anyway, I just was curious. I didn't know what the process was and if there was anything I could do to
maybe
help in the future.
let you know, because I'm not sure how the major projects come up easily, because they are kind of big projects. And some of these other ones, you can do a lot with $1 million with zero. You can't do a whole lot with them. So I know that a little bit more about how those move around.
Can I just make a question, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Dave Dunnigan. I'm a panelist here. And I want to say thank you to Connor for the presentation. The 3 tables, as I understand them, very complex, and it'd be nice to have access to those. I don't know who is allowed to have access to those tables, but it seems to me that the tables represent expectation. So am I getting that right, that this is what we need to expect over the coming years? Or what is the purpose of this presentation?
Great question. Sorry, Gina, if you want to go ahead.
Well, first of all, the webpage that we have, the TIP webpage has, on sandhillsboro.org, has all, as far as like your expectations, that was a question, like, why are we doing this? Because we are weighing in on what this community wants funded. We have, as a staff, looked at the data, did our reviews, we're recommending, and the projects that we think should be on that list are good, but we want to hear if there's a lot of support for those. There's other projects that need funding that we're missing. Also, by the way, table 3 are not our federal funds, like all the DOT state funded projects and then the capital improvement programs from local agencies that we, so that one, we don't really have a lot we can do with that one, but so kind of giving support to us in our methodology and how we're trying to move transportation projects forward and making sure that we're encouraging our partners who build things or submitting the types of projects that we want. Connor, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
That was a great answer. Thank you, Gina. Yeah, I was just gonna repeat, what you said, that they're available online. You just do a quick Google search, Plant Hillsboro tip. You'll find recently posted documents. And explain as well exactly why this process happened.
All right, any other comments that people have?
Did you guys receive, like, for instance, a presentation on 50th and 56th Street from the DOT? Okay. They're doing a really great project like Temple Terrace. And I see in here already, it's an example of, they've already on the priority list, has done really great projects through 50th and 56th Street, for instance. So that's how things come together. We have border studies, we are a stakeholder team with DOT, because that's their study. We support what they're doing, and now you can see how some of those projects were built. Just an example.
We have a motion. Do we need more discussion?
I move we approve the modifications to the forward.
I just have a real quick question. So this table 2 that we're looking at, is it listed in order of priority?
Yes, and also in category of each of the types of buckets of funding that we have for projects. So,
And are the buckets also in priority?
yeah.
Double priority. Okay, got it. Thank you.
I move that we approve the objective modification. And approve the CIP for
Do we have a second?
I'll make a second.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Okay, and then we'll bring in the online audience. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then all those opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Thank you, and I apologize again for the audio issues. I'll be sure to have a headset when I come back to you next time. Thank you.
Johnny, I don't need to like belabor this, but was there something you just really wanted to say, Johnny? Because just so you pop up here.
Gina, I can't hear the combo in the room. I think I heard you say my name.
Okay, nothing. You can ignore me.
Okay. All right, so we can go ahead and move on. Item number 7, status report. And this looks like it's been removed.
That was removed. Again, that was just the 2045 Oak Grove Drive. Feel free to check that out. Tell everybody you know who lives in Tampa that wants to take a survey. It doesn't take very long. We're just shaping the vision for the Tampa comp plan as we update that. So please feel free to take a look. If you have any questions, let me know. My emails should be somewhere on here, but if you need it, let me know and I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. And then old business and new business is our last item. Talking about the July Tri-County BPAC and retreat. We're going to do a fine event.
Yeah, Wade asked me to mention if you weren't sure, but I guess there's already the Tri-County meeting on July 27th. And so instead of holding 2 July meetings and you guys having maybe your retreat, that you maybe could hold that on the same day or before or after that meeting. I don't know. It doesn't have to be then, but it makes sense to have it at the same time. There's also the 13th and the 20th of July available. Last time I think you guys had it under pavilion somewhere. The location is still up in the air, but if does that make sense to you guys? I think the way we'll kind of push for trying to coordinate those 2 meetings.
Is Hillsborough hosting it?
Hillsborough's hosting it this year. And where were you guys last time? Pasco or something, I think, right? There's a bike ride or something. I remember Wade said he went and did a bike ride. But so I suppose if that sounds good to you guys, you're more plan on location and the agenda.
The time on that?
Oh, the 27th.
27th.
Okay, yeah.
And you mentioned the 13th.
Well, those are open if you guys decided you didn't want to have it on the 27th, but we're trying to help. Sure, makes a little more sense to have one meeting. Back in the day when I did, I remember this, but from 1994 through oh my God, 15 years, I was like the kind of queen. And we would have really fun strategy sessions about how to be effective as a community. Is that kind of what you guys do? And you know, I think, look back and see how we accomplished. You really were like, sometimes it doesn't feel like we're making a change or influencing, but we really do. And you start seeing how many trails have been added and our priorities and how you've weighed in on things. So I hope that's kind of how it goes. Is that what you guys do on your strategy session?
I mean, we would definitely like to do more of that, I'd say, to like get together and kind of brainstorm and meet. Being like yeah, there's definitely more we could do there.
Sponsor an event during the year or something. I'm gonna come. I might come too.
Actually, Sierra Club has a small budget. We can provide refreshments. So if you want to have like something light, drinks and Cuban sandwiches, something like that, we can do that.
Something would be a great place for that. Something would be a great place for that.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like, quite like this.
And it's long distance.
For a lot, most people, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And for not the day, but the time, location, and agenda. I don't know how many people come from the other counties, so.
And if anybody ever wants to do like a bike ride or something, I'm the chair of the whole planning organization, APA Santos, and we have a small budget, and we're always looking to like advertise things like that, partner on projects. So if you have like a bike ride, or you want to have a bike ride, or any kind of tour or anything, please feel free to follow me on my Facebook page or LinkedIn page, and there is actually a bike ride coming up. It's in Pasco. I don't have to look exactly, but so yeah, it's feel free.
What's the?
That's APA Suncoast, so the American Planning Association Suncoast section. We have a website, but really the LinkedIn and the Facebook have most of the updates. And if you're a member of APA, you should get our newsletters. There's a small fee for that if you're not a member yet. It's free for students. So if you're a student, you can get free membership.
So the last item is adjournment.
This is Jason at USF. How is everyone doing? I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. I have a quick new business or announcement. Bike Walk Tampa is helping host with the University Area Community Development Center, UACDC, the ICANN program, which is a bike program for people with disabilities. And that'll be, I believe, the week of June 13th. And I'm going to put in the chat, I know that not everybody's online right now, but I'm going to put in the chat a link to that volunteer. We're looking for some volunteers for that. I think just a few shifts. It's a great program. I did that last year. It was a really fun experience. So yeah, if you can volunteer an hour of your time, I guess represent the BPAC or your organization, but it's a really, really fun opportunity.
Jason, can I add, I did volunteer last year, and I was paired with Paisley. She was Down syndrome, scared to get on the bike. By the end of the week, she was pedaling away. They have different bikes for different, skill levels, and they kind of changed the bike as the week went along. And it was just really nice. And there's different children there that you'll really enjoy getting to know. So if you can do it, I would definitely encourage it.
What do we think about, you said planning just like a brainstorming / reflection section, get together.
Workshop.
Workshop, just kind of more casual, like get together, like let's just. Yeah, I mean, you get July, I mean, that's like a couple months away. I was just thinking something next week. Just wait and see if we can just like send out invites.
Really like having conversations before we're like, you're ready to take a test right away, right? So why don't we like, so that's something happens, letting them like sort of simmer, right? The conversation.
If we're gonna do that,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we're applying with sunshine.
Right. How.
So that's a notice,
We just noticed it. We'll post it on our website.
but it's like a time limit. It's a great idea. Especially southern, right?
If you do it in Southern, I'll buy direct. For me,
Yeah.
Again, just sometime in the next month or so, just make it more like a social, so we can also just hang out, talk, reflect, do a little bit of vision casting. All right, you said you were motion to adjourn? All right. Adjourn.
He's living with it.
He's a first grade, getting math license yet. Maria, he's
Next time.
Although, Key West, his long-term plan is going to be.
Oh my gosh.
Did you ever? Oh, yeah, I thought. It'd be kind of close to that.